Howdy all, Movax Lives. I think it's time to play a little 7 Days to Die. Oh man, I gotta... Still got a minute left on that dang bruised knee. Alright, let's see. Where am I at? Looks like we got a hardware station I could probably check out right over here. Uh, caught the first-ish episode of Cowboy Bebop. First episode and part of the second one, I think. I might have watched... Whoa. That was weird. I might have watched the first two. So Cowboy Bebop is the old anime series from the, what, late 90s, mid 90s, somewhere in there. One of my favorites. And so I was kind of excited to see him putting together a live action series based off of it. Although, you know, that stuff can be very hit or miss. But it's been pretty good so far. It's pretty similar to the episodes that I remember. It's been a long time since I really watched through Cowboy Bebop, so but so far it has been pretty good. I guess I kind of thought it was going to be more its own thing, and it's very, very based off the anime. Oop, it didn't like come up here. And so while there are some differences, it's still very close to what I remember. In a good way. I don't usually mind if something is slightly different. I say slightly. I don't mind if something is different. Let's just say that. As long as it's well made. Because nobody wants something they really like to get a live action treatment and then have it be poorly made. I don't remember if there are... Oh, I see you. Nasty thing. Why is everybody frozen? But yeah, the animation, or the animation, the CGI is really good. The spaceships look great. I forgot how much of a... Ooh, I do not have steel chest. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I didn't think I had enough room to pick that up. But I do have room just to put it in there. Alright, looks like I need to head back to base and unload. So the other thing the other thing that I probably talk more about is I have watched the first 3 episodes of The Wheel of Time. Now, The Wheel of Time is, dang it, I do this every time. I hit Control trying to go down, and Control is not the correct key. I need to swap that. Because spacebar for up and C for down is not working for me. In fact, let's just go ahead and swap that right now. Vehicle. I mean, those don't match this. Okay, but they do work. Okay, there we go. Maybe I can fly this thing better. Where is my home? Way over there. So, Wheel of Time is one of my favorite book series. What I used to do is a book would come out and I'd read every book up to the new book and then read the new book. It's got about 15-ish books in the series. I don't remember the exact number, but I think it's right around 15, including there's a novella that tells some story before the books take place. And so I used to get them from the library, and then the library, somebody checked out one of the books and then never brought it back. And so I was like, oh man, when are you guys going to get a replacement for the book? Because the new book's coming out. And, I want to read back through them. And the library was like, well, there's only a couple people that ever check out those books. So it's not really in the budget to replace a book that only a couple of people are reading. This is back before there was like library loans and computers, for that matter. I mean, there were computers, but like the internet and stuff to easily share books between libraries like there is now. And so I was so disappointed. And so I found a science fiction book club that I was able to then order the books through as they came out. And so I bought all the books as they came out from there. And I've had to replace copies because I've worn the books out reading through them. And so I was really looking forward to this series. And it's good, but it is not the book series. I'm more than a little surprised at how different they went with the storyline over the actual what happened in the book. And 3 episodes is not enough to know where they're going. Obviously, they're following the major plot points, the very major plot points. But the details are very different. And I expected some slimming down because it is a book series of very hefty books. I don't think I was expecting a change in the story content as big as has happened. So, for example, in the book, they start off with their Beltane celebration, which is kind of a midwinter festival for them, and I think it's midwinter. Oof, I don't remember. Anyways, and so the main characters or one of the main characters comes in with his father and to deliver some stuff for the party that's coming up, and then they go home, and that happens in this series. Uh, um, but there's some character development that there's some characters who are, I would consider, main characters who do not make an appearance at the beginning of the story like they do in the book series. And I found the choice to move or even change how the characters interact to be a little weird. Uh, so, spoilers. Uh, One of the major plot points in the series is that regular people can't trust the Aes Sedai. Uh, the Aes Sedai um, are okay. Basically, there was a power. It came in two parts: the male part and the female part. Um, they try to find a power where they could be equal, um, and they instead found a prison, but they thought it was a power source, and so they drilled into it. And when they drilled into it, they released the evil being that was trapped inside. And then a bunch of the men tried to seal it, and when they tried to seal it, the evil being tainted or poisoned the male side. So now any man who can use the power goes insane. And we're talking like goes insane, thinks people are after him, levels the city with a volcano power. And so uh, so that's kind of the story. And so since then, the Aes Sedai tried to kind of take over at one point, and and there was a war. Uh, and at the end of the war, rather than be destroyed, they allowed themselves to be bound by the three oaths, right? And so the three oaths were like, you don't make a weapon for men to kill other men. You don't, you can't tell a lie, uh, and you can only use the power to hurt other people in defense of yourself or your warder, which is their specially bound bodyguard. And and so those are their three oaths basically. And so the big one is they can't tell a lie. But what they do is they tell the truth in a way that they didn't lie, but it's not the truth you thought you were hearing. And so regular people don't trust the Aes Sedai because that's how they operate. They say what they want to say, but they do it in true words. An example from the show that they did was they got stopped and questioned by these people, and they asked what they were doing, and so she said the Aes Sedai that's with them in the story. She said that she was going to the city looking for shelter because the place they had been in had been overrun, and her sister lived in the city, and she thought that she could stay with her sister. All right. So all of that is true in a sense, but what she said was her sister. What she meant was her sister Aes Sedai, which is a completely different thing that's happening. She doesn't actually have a sister. She's not going to stay with her family, like she implied. Uh, and so, um, man, I have a lot of bandages. I guess I made some bandages. All right, let's see about this chest piece I've got now. Oh man, this is only going to have one slot. Ooh. We already know it has to be that one, right? And, oh, there's no room in my queue. What's in my queue, man? Oh, it must be a bunch of brass. Bunch of brass. So yeah, so it's like that. And so there's a very, so they meet this dude, Tom, who's a bard. Uh, he's not just a bard, but they don't know that. He's a court bard, and he was involved with a similar situation as what is happening to these people. Um, and so he feels connected to what's happening to them in a way that uh, makes him want to take them under his arm and help them survive the world, because they are from a tiny, tiny village in the middle of literally nowhere, and they've never been to an actual city or dealt with any kind of police or military presence or nobility or anything like that. And Aes Sedai are basically nobles in this world. And so he meets them right at the beginning of the book and travels with them, and they get to a point in the book, in the story, which they got to in the series, where he winds up traveling with a couple of them for a short period of time. But by that point, he's taught them some things to help them survive out in the world, and they end up with some of his equipment, which allows them to earn their supper and shelter as some of them travel after they all get separated from each other. Yeah, that's not in the TV show. He runs into him, and they have one scene from the book, um, and that's it. And then he goes on his way, and I'm like, he seems more important to me than that. That, like, he probably might show up again, but they they have no actual connection to him. Uh, and then, like, there's some other things that went down, like the one character, her father is the mayor of the town and the owner of the inn in the book. Her parents don't get mentioned, I don't think, in the show. And instead, this other character who's mentioned in the book is the innkeeper. Um, and the All right, did all my gear get put back on? Problem is it's now nighttime again. So I'm not sure that I want to head out in the nighttime. Looks like there could be something here. I should head southwest from here and see what we can see out through that way. Come on, you let me put it down there. Come on. We'll travel southwest in this false daytime I got going here. See what we can see out in the desert. Maybe it won't be so hot. I can take off my puffer coat, I guess. Can I take off my puffer coat without falling to my death, though? Oh, shoot. Well. Not my plan. Not my plan to be out here and dead and... Oh, crap. I got lucky there. Why is my guy bent over for an hour, for 2 hours? What does that mean? I'm fatigued? I'll eat a vitamin to cure this. Well, I'm so glad I traveled so far from my home that I immediately have to run back and get some more medicine. So, yeah. The, one of the other characters, he's apprenticed to the blacksmith. And the blacksmith is a pretty major character in the books. And he's a secondary character in the books. But he does pop up almost every book. And not in the show at all. In fact, not only is the blacksmith and his family not in the book, but they've replaced him with a woman the same age as the character, and they're a couple, which is not in the book at all. And so that was... I don't hate it. It made for an interesting dynamic. I just feel that it changes the character, especially with what they did with him and the woman. It's a completely different motivation than what he has in the books. And so now I'm confused because you've changed the root motivations of the characters. They're not going to be the same characters. Or they are going to be the same characters, but you just decided this was good for an episode or something. I don't understand. I think that should be good for that little bit of... a little bit of disease I had going there. Alright, now do I want to try this again? Try not to... Okay, I'm going to take off my puffer coat. So this is what happened was... I've been playing Minecraft today, and in Minecraft, E opens up my inventory. And on here, E throws me off my bike. So, yeah, and then one of my favorite scenes in the first book, there are several favorite scenes in the first book, but one of my absolute favorite sections in the book is they go to this city called Shadar Logoth. and the city was during the war against the evil one, uh, the Dark One. They sealed themselves off from the rest of the world, and um, when nobody had heard from them, they sent people to see what happened. And when they found the city, it was empty, just absolutely empty. Um, and but you can't stay in the city because it will kill you at night. Um, and so the city has somehow developed this creature within it called Mashatter, who's a major entity in the story. Maybe not a major entity, but it's more important than the blacksmith guy. I feel, to some of the plot points that I guess they're just not going to have, um, uh, which is a shame because I really like the whole being chased by Mashatter that happens at the different points in the storyline, and they don't even have Mashatter in the show. Uh, they went with this black mold-looking stuff instead of a fog that is like tentacles reaching out and grasping things. Um, and so I was really excited to be able to see Mashatter, because there's a point later where they use these doorways to travel between places, and there's a couple of points where Mashatter either tries to get in or out of the place. There's a dude who they did introduce who um, gets fused with some of that, and basically the book, the series pulls a lot from other series, and so he's kind of the Gollum of the series. He chases after one of the guys because he's got the dagger, right? My dagger, my precious kind of thing. And so yeah, I was. I mean, I don't dislike it. It's pretty good. It's obviously going to be a much faster pace than the giant books, but I didn't expect it to twist the details as much as it has. So definitely something I'm gonna have to keep an eye on. I did read the first chapter again just to see, and yeah, I'm probably gonna read through the books again as I'm watching this, just so I can be like, oh yeah, see, that's very different. It's very different. I just uh, I don't know what they're going to do is the problem, because knowing where the story goes is very different than watching a show that's probably just going to cut those storylines out. Basically, what had happened was um, I want to say it's called the War of Power. You think I could remember? I can't though. I think it's called the War of Power. During the War of Power, the Dark One. Oh come on! I'm trying to view things here. The Dark One had created these. It's nighttime. I shouldn't be hot. Had created these creatures, the Trollocs, which are basically like trolls, I guess. They're like big, 10, 12 feet tall, 8, 12 feet tall, somewhere in there. They've got animal-like features, lots of horns, that kind of stuff, claws, you know. But they also wear armor, carry weapons, and but they eat everything, people, each other, you know, stuff like that. And then they also created the Murderall, which are these weird. I think they were people, and they use magic to mutate them, but they mutate in a way that even the people who made them don't understand, and they're called Fades or Eyeless. They don't have eyes, but they can see, and they're called Fades because they can vanish. They like twist reality around them, which they have not shown in the series so far, but I think they can teleport. If I remember correctly, it's been a long time. So they created them by the hundreds of thousands or more, not the Fades, but the Trollocs. And so they marched across the land. And then on top of that, people sided with the Dark One. And so there's the Aes Sedai who became the Forsaken. And I think there's 13 of them. And so they led whole armies against people. And so basically the same thing happens again in the present day in the books, and the small town that the book starts in plays a fairly important role in defending against one of these armies reaching into the area where they live. And so I guess they're just not going to do that story. Okay, that must be a school. I was up a little too high to see what was going on down here, so I wanted to get a little lower and see what these buildings were. Got a military base, I think, there. Or no, that's water. There's a farm. They look really funny from up here, because they don't fit into the terrain very well. I'm surprised I haven't been attacked by vultures up here. They attack me everywhere else out through here. But yeah, it's different, and I hope it stays good. The bits that are different change the characters. Like I said, the one character has a totally different backstory now, because of the events that took place in the first episode. One of the other characters was like this mischievous gambler guy, and he's like, all the advice in the world is coming out of him on what they should be doing, which is very not him. Is that the end of the world I've come to? Apparently I've come to the ocean. I didn't even know there were oceans. I could be out here on an island. But yeah, it's good. I just, you know, I would have liked it to have been closer to the book. It's like the Dune thing, right? Like it's kind of what I liked, but it's not very close to the what I believe the motivations of the characters to be, and they've changed the motivations, and so it'll be interesting, for sure. All right, with that, I can't fly this plane. I keep hitting the wrong buttons. I'm gonna call it a night. So beware of the small things. Lean into the light. I'll talk to you later.